Okay, I've got hold on just one second. Okay, we're recording, and I'm going to upload this to YouTube. This is an official statement from Paul J. Hansen from prison. I've got to step away from the phone. My wife is going to come here in a second. It's incredibly crazy this morning, but we didn't want to miss this opportunity for you to say your statement as to anything you want to get out to the public, sir. So I'm going to step away. My wife's going to be in here in a second, and we got a recorder going, and thank you for calling Mr. Hansen.
Sure. What's your wife's first name?
Her name is Erin, E-R-I-N. So feel free to talk, and the recorder's going, and she'll be in here in just a second. If you want to talk, the recorder's capturing anything you want the public to know.
Yeah, you can cut and paste as long as you don't alter it substantially on this thing. So I don't really have much to say until she probably asks me a question or something.
Okay. There are a lot of people asking your relationship with Mr. Hovind and why you're in prison. But I know this is a little awkward, but it's just a really crazy time for me. We're trying to maintain our day jobs, and I think it's incredibly important to capture your statement. So I'm gonna get my wife in here. But I would say the first question I have for you, sir, and then I'm gonna have to step away, unfortunately, is what is your relationship to Mr. Hovind, and why are you in prison?
Okay, about close to 9 years ago, Kent Hovind. I started learning about Kent Hovind.
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
I started learning about Kent Hovind in a substantial way, even probably before that. But I did attend a few of his seminars. I don't think I ever talked to him. I'm sure he doesn't remember me, but I was very impressed with his material and his ability to communicate the accuracy of the scriptures and its relationship to being a good report for the Earth being only 6,000 years old instead of millions of years old, or billions of years old, or trillions of years old, as some people claim, or infinitely old as others. And basically, then I heard that he was having difficulty with the IRS, and I was somewhat of an IRS expert. Not me so much, but I worked with a guy that beat the IRS over 50 times. He graduated from law school, and he beat them simply by keeping the burden of proof on them and not making any statements in court. Kent was in the same situation because every relationship with the United States is by contract. Not a single relationship with the United States is by birthright. So in having a tax due or an obligation to collect taxes like they claim Kent had, or even an obligation to conduct his banking parameters based on U.S. written laws based on contract. But anyway, Kent had a ministry with about 40 people, and I think most of their time was spent distributing material around the world for CD disc and VCR tapes and so forth. And I think he would generate close to $1 million of revenue or $2 million of revenue a year. But I found that Kent was IRS was coming after him for not withholding taxes, and I just simply contacted him and told him about his potential defenses and so forth, and we talked, and then I can't remember if he was in jail when I talked to him on the phone or if he just got out, but I basically told him that if he hired an attorney to defend himself, he would lose, and if he just simply followed our program, and he'd probably write it down in less than 5 pages, and he could simply present it into court, his chances of success are almost 100%. Because when you put the burden of proof on the IRS, and you don't truly have an activity that is taxable by location or by activity, the IRS has no jurisdiction to collect taxes. Extremely simple. They only have jurisdiction in primarily 5 areas, if I can remember them properly. If you're a U.S. citizen by naturalization, like a person coming from Mexico, then you have a contract with the government, and you're required to pay taxes and fill out the forms yearly. Otherwise, you can breach that contract, and it's a criminal penalty, and then you can be deported. The other one is if you walk up to the government and you ask to incorporate. That's seeking a contract, and you have obligations to file each year your income for the benefit of incorporating with the United States. The other one is if you take on a federal license, that's a contract. You're receiving a benefit or service of the license. You have an obligation to follow their taxing requirements. The other one is if you do business on the United States owned property, that's a privilege. It's a type of a contract. Therefore, you're required to pay the use to follow their written laws, and they want you to pay taxes for activity that gains income on their property. And of course, if you self-assess yourself, if you choose to elect to part of their system, their services or benefits, that's a contract. You're obligated to meet the terms of that contract, which is filing for taxes each year. Or if you're a corporation, you have to file and assess yourself. If you're an individual, man or woman, you can elect to have them 6203 assess you because they're the experts at filling out the taxes. And that's one of our main defenses. If they claim that you're a taxpayer as an individual, it doesn't work if you're a corporation, but if you're an individual, you just tell them to 6203 you, and they will not 6203 you unless you are actually a taxable person or doing activity in a taxable zone. So, Ernie, are you there yet?
It's Aaron. I'm here, and
Aaron.
I was wondering what resources we can use to help you, or what websites can you point us to, and when is your trial, and what are your charges, and your relationship to Kent Hovind?
Yeah, well, in relationship to my charges, they claimed that both Kent and I used the U.S. mail to commit mail fraud. You know, all we've ever done is, I don't think there's any even evidence that Kent used any mail fraud for the mail for the activity that he's being accused of doing. He's accused of mailing a letter to, I think, to the court, or the United States, stating that he put a les pendum in, which is basically a document that says that a case is pending, and you should consider it, which in their case they would consider it and not sell property that they claim was forfeited to the United States from creation science evangelism. So that's what the les pendum was noticing them of cease selling until this case is adjudicated. And they're claiming that was mail fraud. When they arrested me on October 23rd of 2014 by a SWAT team, believe it or not, with when I walked out of the house, they leveled AK-47s, I believe they were, right at my head, and held it there until I was handcuffed, which is insane.
I never hear them doing this for pedophiles.
That's true.
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
It was just an absolutely big show. Just an absolutely big show. That's all they wanted to do is put on a big threat show in front of the neighborhood.
Well,
mind you, the entire neighborhood comes out and wonders why all these police cars are surrounding my house, and people are carrying tactical gear and bulletproof vests, and
they don't intimidate us.
yeah, and they look like they got machine guns in their hands, and just absolutely ridiculous for what they claim is mail fraud. But now, so anyway, so Kent's charged with filing a les pendum, which the reason he filed a les pendum is because the government claimed that it was his land. And he says, well, if they want to claim it's my land, which it wasn't, it was a church ministry land. Well, I'll go ahead and file this document in hopes that we can get maybe our day in court, get the true owner of this property to maintain ownership and not have the government turn it over. It was close to $1 million property, or 8 different houses that the ministry was using, buildings and so forth. As far as me, they're charging me with sending a single letter to a title company. About a year before, the bank, the court sent me a letter and said that I was barred from doing anything to cloud the title. So approximately a year after that, they claimed that I mailed a letter to a title company. I was working with 4 or 5, I think it was 4 people, 3 primarily from Omaha. We'd get together once a month and go over some of the strategies that we could use to help Kent and so forth. Reading his transcript of his case, and if we could aid him in getting some type of a victory in release, or even securing the property from forfeiture. But so they claim that I mailed a letter, or I had a letter mailed to this title company. It just simply said that we have a legal interest in the property that they're trying to forfeiture and sell to other people. And they're claiming that's mail fraud, that I was trying to defraud the United States. No. And then the other charges are using the U.S. mail to deliver that document, which is an additional charge. Each charge has up to 20 years of jail time. And then they claim that there's one other charge that's associated with, I can't even remember what it is, but they're all associated with mail fraud and false representation of being the owner. And then they did send me a subpoena around about a month before October 23rd, wanting me to come down to Florida and give them fingerprints and handwriting exemplars samples. And I wrote them back, and I just simply said that there was no compelling law on the document that I received. There's no document there, that no writing on that document that said which law are they relying upon that I have a duty to drive all the way to Florida and do that, because it was only signed by a court clerk. It wasn't signed by a judge. There was no law written on it that gave me a duty, and there was no law written on it of a punishment for not obeying that duty. So I wrote them back. I said, this has all appearances of simply an invitation. Of course, they arrested me on that, and that was an additional charge. So that has unlimited years of jail associated with it. Trying to think of, but when I was arrested in Omaha, the attorney, public defender that they appointed me for a short time there, she read it, and she didn't even know me at all. She just put her head up and looked at me, and she says,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Are you gonna
"Mail
call?
fraud."
Are you gonna call back, or do you want to give the websites that we can help you out at?
Well, 2 Peter 3, I think, 2 Peter, the number 2, and then Peter, and then number 3.com is probably the best way to if you wanted to donate a little bit of money for my incarceration and time that I'm spending to help Kent and so forth. You could do that. Now, I'm going to eat lunch here right now. The food just came, so should I call you back in when I'm done eating it?
Yeah, whenever you feel like it, we'll be here.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. And then we'll get a good shot at it.
Okay, sounds good. Bon appetit. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. We're ready to roll.
Okay. I think I did get a list of the charges here. I'll just read them off real quick.
Okay, good.
There's six total charges. Number 3 is not mine; it's only Kent. But the first count is just simply mail fraud. The second count is conspiring to do mail fraud. So they're claiming that Kent and I worked together to conspire mail fraud. Number 3 is Kent's only, violating a court order. Number 4 is they're claiming that I put a claim together that was fraudulent. We're claiming the property belonged to the church, Creation Science Evangelism, 8 houses. And then number 5, that's a violating a court order. That applies to me only. That one is the court told both Kent and I not to do anything to cloud the title on these properties. So that's what that's referring to. And then number 6 is my simply failure to appear in Pensacola, Florida when I was living in Omaha, Nebraska. So go ahead and ask a question. I forget where we even left off last time.
I just find it very ironic, all about this greed. I find that IRS is greedy. They
Call
want
is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
they want to take our money, but if we want to keep our own money, we're the greedy ones. And if Kent was greedy, he would have copyrighted all his material over the years. And I find it really ironic because the reason Kent has so much popularity is because he was never greedy and he never copyrighted his material, and he just tried to help people.
There's no question he did very well. The biggest thing that I think is just a catastrophe in justice is that the United States is the plaintiff. Now, the United States, there's no indication in the documents that I received that there was any damage. The church, in a roundabout way, purchased all the property back. I don't understand exactly how it was done, but even though I was one of the trustees, I was kind of out of the loop at that time. But they didn't suffer any penalty. The church bought it all back for $430,000, exactly what the judgment was that they claimed that they had for Kent not withholding taxes from the 40 employees. Now, the terrible thing is Kent hired this attorney for $120,000, and at the end of they call it the chief when the plaintiff, the United States, puts on their case. The judge asked the attorney that was hired by Kent if there's any defense, and he's just stood up for $120,000. This was his defense. No defense, Your Honor. So what happened? He did not even defend the fact that every person that worked for Kent paid their own taxes. So the trial ends up with the jury thinking that the taxes were never paid, and then they assess a tax against Creation Science Evangelism. Against Kent Hovind for $430,000. So the government got paid twice. Now, what kind of an honest government would do that? Any honest Christian would stand up and say, no, Judge, you got it wrong. We did receive those taxes. Each and every person that worked for Creation Science Evangelism paid their what they believed was their taxes, and we're square in that way. But no, they're liars. They're absolute liars. It appears to me. If somebody owed you money and then they paid you, and then the court case awarded that money back to you again, that's stealing. God hates stealing.
That's right. They're very greedy.
Stealing. Yeah. And another thing is that, the United States government, their remedy was in the civil case setting. They didn't have to go into a criminal setting and threaten. If I'm doing something to property that maybe causes you harm, I encumber your property or something, you can take it into a civil setting and explain to a jury without heavy-handedly holding over a criminal threat over my head.
Exactly.
It's absolutely, that's unbiblical to do that. The Bible never provides that you owe somebody money, or if you're damaging, encumbering their property in basically in a minor way, to threaten them with jail time.
That's
and that's
right.
exactly what the United States government does. They threaten you with jail time. And even though a great many people are innocent, they'll plead guilty because they're facing 20 years, and the government will say, well, if you plead guilty, we'll give you a 1 year in jail and a $50,000 fine. And people go, oh man, if I fight this, I got to pay that much in lawyer fees almost, and then I face 5 or 20 years in jail. They take the 1 year. It's called extortion.
That's
God
right.
hates that.
Yeah.
God hates it.
That's right. Jail is completely unbiblical.
Yes. Yeah, all aspects of jail are unbiblical except to hold somebody for a short time while they stand before the court. And, maybe, I suppose biblically, probably the longest you've ever would stay in jail would be a month. It's probably usually a few days or a week. Why would you wait 6 months or 2 years to go to court when the witnesses are all there right away and you can have court immediately?
Right.
So basically, I've been in jail all this time. They won't give me a release on bond or anything, and they just systematically strip you of most of your defenses.
I thought you were supposed to get bail if you weren't a threat to society.
Well, they decide. Apparently, they just decide not to give you bail. We've asked for it. They don't give it to you.
Yeah, I thought
They
that.
claim that since I didn't show up for that subpoena, they're claiming that I'm a risk flight.
Oh, brother.
Now, I wrote them a letter sent by a notary. I think it might even been certified mail, telling them that the document I received doesn't have any compelling law on it. It's a little bit similar to a clerk of the court. In my eyes, a clerk of the court drove out to my farm and stuck a stop sign on the road. I watched him do it, and I walked up to her and I go, well, what law are you relying upon to put that stop sign there, or that 20-mile-an-hour speed limit? This used to be a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit road right here. She says, well, I'm the clerk of the court. I said, well, what law are you relying upon? I'm the clerk of the court.
It's
Well,
ridiculous.
what's the penalty if I don't obey that sign? Because you're not telling me which law it's based on. Well, I'm the clerk of the court. I don't have to answer your questions. It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will say, then you just look at it and you go, well, if you're not going to tell me what written law you're relying upon, you're not going to tell me what possible punishment it is, why should I give you any attention at all? Especially when I do it in writing.
That's
You got any questions there?
that's right. It's completely ridiculous, and nothing makes sense anymore. It's just the world is completely upside down. I don't know what I don't know how much communication you get, if any, from Kent Hovind, but he's been doing radio interviews over the last couple of weeks, quite a few, and he's getting the word out. I don't know if you know the army of Christian soldiers you have working for you guys right now. It's gaining
Yeah,
steam.
I'm not allowed to communicate with Kent. We're in the same jail together, but for example, if we can't be in the same mod together, we're never allowed to talk or send mail to each other. And if there is a church service, whoever gets their name on the list first can go to the church service, but the guy that's a little bit late can't,
Wow.
For example, if I put my name on the list first, I get to go and can't go. So they keep us separated. But that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. The whole world should know. The whole world should know the heavy-handedness of this. And the sad part is the government will probably record this conversation and play it in court to enhance my if they find me guilty, to enhance my penalty.
Sure, they might do that, and hopefully they'll learn something. Hopefully they'll learn how ridiculous they are.
Yeah, if you stand up against them, you stand the chance of being at least 2 to 3 times longer in jail. If you just stand up against them. Now, where is that biblical?
No,
It's evil.
none of it's biblical. It's all evil.
Evil. Now, Kent's been in jail for,
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
Kent's been in jail for over 8 years for not doing a single thing wrong. He didn't do one single thing wrong. Matter of fact, he went way overboard to do things correct.
That's right.
He was trying to teach society how they could live independent of the United States, how they could do business apart from the United States. Kent wasn't doing business on government land. He wasn't doing business under contract law. Contract with the government. And he was showing the rest of Americans how you can actually live independent from contracting with the United States. And what do? They go, well, we're not going to have any of that. They send their swarm of agents after him and destroy his life.
It's ridiculous.
Evil.
Pure evil.
But it should every American, every church in America should be coming out in the streets and saying, put a stop to this. We've had enough. They do not have a constitutional authority to do this. We're challenging territorial jurisdiction. The U.S. court had no jurisdiction whatsoever to make the determination that creation science evangelism's land did not belong to Kent. But the court ruled that they did not belong to the creation science evangelism. That they said, well, that's just a scam trust to cover up his assets. They didn't have any jurisdiction to do that because territorially the land is not on government land or of government land, and also Kent had no contractual relationship with the United States. So the U.S. court had no nexus of jurisdiction, not a single. The only jurisdiction they had is for Kent to bring in evidence to show that they didn't have jurisdiction. That's the only jurisdiction they had.
Well, I don't know who they think they are, but this is not right.
Nope. It's these judges are statists.
Yeah.
They're statists. They believe that the state should have more and more power, and that the people should have less and less power, and that the people are not capable of governing their own lives, so they've got to step in and do it. I consider them organized crime. They're murderers in many ways.
Yeah.
They murder people by destroying their character. I think there's plenty of evidence that at times they murder people that make a big impact and shows.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Any more questions?
If you could just state your name, I guess, that would be great, and any other ways we can help you.
Yeah, my name is Paul Hansen. I have a website called pauljjhansen.com, and also another one called freeinhabitant.com. No, freeinhabitant.info. And I'm been born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. I consider myself a lawyer, even though I refuse to take a bar license, even though I've been offered one. Did you want me to call back, or should this be suffice?
I think that's good, unless you want to add anything.
No, that's good. Just write me a letter if you want me to get back on and put the questions in it, and we'll do it again.
All right, Paul, we really appreciate your call today, and we pray for you in jail, and we really wish this wasn't happening, but we're just going to fight as hard as we can.